Good morning. Welcome to Morning Trust, the morning civic devotion for Nigerian citizens. This is the fourth day of our devotion, and our topic today is returning change. Yes, we're going to be talking about returning change. This is something that has become a culture in our country, a way of life, an aspect that has caused a lot of concern for many people. The inability of Nigerians during transactions, business transactions, to return change when payment is made. So we want to talk about it, we want to meditate, we want to reflect. The Bible in Romans chapter 12 verse 17 says that we must provide things honestly in the sight of all men. We should provide things honestly in the sight of all men. The Quran, in the 6th book of the Quran, verse 152. Quran in its 6th book, verse 152, which is talking about justice in measure and dealings, says, "Give full measure and weight in justice." Give full measure and weight in justice, in what is right, in right dealings, in rightful dealings. And in our African philosophical compilations, there is an adage and a proverb that says, "A person of integrity leaves footprints of peace." Where there is integrity, there will be a legacy of peace. When people act with integrity, what you will see behind them, what they will leave in their aftermath, what they will leave in their absence is peace. And all of these become very relevant to this conversation. Returning change. As you know, this entire week, our theme is why trust matters. We're really focusing on trust. Trust as the basis for all human cooperation and all social exchange. When you remove trust, when I no longer trust you and you no longer trust me, we can no longer cooperate. Instead, what has replaced it is we're all trying to cheat the other. We're all trying to, outsmart ourselves. When we're not cooperating, we're trying to outsmart each other. We're trying to be smarter, think more crooked. We're trying to preserve our own interests, and nothing functions. Businesses can no longer function because you don't trust that what the product or the service that they are delivering is trustworthy. You don't trust it. You don't trust that it will give you the value that you are paying for. Relationships, whether spousal, parental, friendship, relationships are no longer, solid because each partner no longer trusts the other. Even business relationships, we don't trust ourselves anymore. So you don't relax. You don't, go to sleep expecting the other person to fulfill their obligations because you can't depend on them. Leadership fails because the follower no longer submits willingly. They don't trust that the leader knows what he or she is doing, that the leader will get them to a desirable destination or outcome. They don't trust. So the rules that the leader, imposes or, places, they no longer follow. The follower is no longer willing to be submitted to the vision and the rule or the control or the authority of the leader. Everything breaks down because under such circumstances, rules are no longer binding. They are general rules that bind all of us together in harmony, in peaceful coexistence. But if one person does not trust the other person, then we're not following the rules because you don't trust that your neighbor will follow his own. So you begin to circumvent your own and everything breaks down. So we're talking about this aspect of returning change and how even something as simple as returning change contributes to the bigger collapse, contributes to the larger dysfunction. As you know, if you've lived in Nigeria long enough, one of the greatest, challenges you will witness is that when you go to do any business transaction that involves exchanging money and collecting change, very rarely will the person at the opposite side of the business, the person who owes you change, return it. What we find more commonly is people say, I don't have change. I don't have change. I don't have change. And then they will just look away blankly as though, yes, whatever, walk away. It has now become common. It has now become the way of life, the expected way of life. In the past, at least when I was much younger, many years ago, the person who owes change will feel obliged to ask around, oh, could you break this money into smaller pieces for me? I want to pay back change. But now it's so rare to find it in the market. Perhaps in the market, you still find market women displaying this level of honesty and obligation, responsibility to their customers. But it's very uncommon now. You go to supermarkets, the salesman or woman, the sales boy or girl just tells you blankly and confidently, there's no change, and deal with it. You go to the fuel station at the fuel pump, the attendant tells you, I don't have change, and walks away. You go to the train station, you want to buy a ticket, the attendant tells you, I don't have change, and looks away and expects you to walk away. Returning change is now almost as if it is, a very heavy duty to perform. The business operator believes that your change is their entitlement. Acts as though that money, that extra money that was never part of the transaction, suddenly is theirs to hold on to. And they don't owe you an explanation or an effort to try to get it back to you. This is dangerous because it is endorsing stealing. It is endorsing stealing. When you obtain something by force or by false pretenses you don't have, yet if you check the drawer, the safe, there's change. You don't have, yet if you make an effort, you can find it. Or at the very least, you could tell the customer at the beginning of the transaction, oh please, I don't have change. Will you please ensure that you have change on you? Because if you purchase this and you don't have change, I won't be able to produce change for you. That shows an effort, that shows honesty, that shows a sense of responsibility and obligation. Sometimes the seller even, the buyer mistakenly gives too much money. And rather than you return it and tell them, oh no, you've overpaid me, you pretend. We are destroying the ethical fabric of our country. That moral responsibility to each other, to protect the interests of each other, to respect the interests and rights of each other, to act in a way that never harms or injures the other. That is the foundation of how strong nations are built. It's those ordinary moments of integrity. And whether you're a Christian faithful, a Muslim faithful, or you adhere to African traditions, I read at the beginning of this devotion, passages in our religious books that enshrine these values of acting honestly in the sight of all men with integrity, of giving full measure and weight in what is just and what is right, of acting with integrity so that we leave footprints of peace. Everyday honesty matters. You have to be cautious of how you act, even when no one is looking at you. When you answer only to yourself, when there's no punishment, at least no direct punishment, no obvious punishment, but yet there are consequences, there are repercussions. Because when we continue to act like this, whether it's in the level of our businesses, you give people a bad experience of you, of your services. They walk away feeling bad, negative. They no longer advertise your business. They won't promote your business through their word of mouth. They will plan in their hearts never to return to your business unless they are forced to. Like in government, stations or government, where you want to buy a train ticket, because you don't have a choice, you go back. Assuming you had a choice, if somebody takes your change and does it consistently, and you know that it's now become a practice, you won't go back because they're stealing from you. It might look like it is small, but when you compound it, when you add it up, this extra money, when added up, could have even bought me another ticket or could have bought me another product. Some businesses, some salespersons will even say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have change. Would you like to take this sweet or this candy or this item that falls within the price margin of the change? That's even better than just blanking your face and acting as though you have no responsibility. It's not my business. I'm taking it. Come on. How does this support trade and businesses? How does this lack of integrity, how does this lack of ethical performance make your business survive? We've said it in the earlier sessions. Honesty protects all of us. It guarantees that our interests are protected. Even when I'm not present, when I know that my neighbor will not breach their boundary, the shop next to me will not sweep dirt from the front of their shop into the front of my shop, I will trust them to be, to stay peacefully with me. I too will act in their interests. I will even recommend customers to them. When I don't have a product, I'll say, please check my neighbor's shop. Honesty protects everyone. Dishonesty destroys everyone. Eventually, nothing works anymore. I go out, I don't trust, the next person. Anything coming out of their mouth, I don't trust it. And if I don't trust it, I will not cooperate. I will not cooperate. I will rather be trying to do things to outsmart. I won't obey rules. I won't abide by rules, social norms. I will just be trying to do what's best only for myself. And imagine a whole society and nation of people just trying to do only what's best for them. So let us return change. It is important. It speaks about the integrity of that individual and that business and that service provider. It tells the customer or the client that they will always act in your interest, even when no one is watching. It matters. Dear Nigerians, it matters. May God help us to act honestly in the sight of all men, to give full measure and weight in justice, and to act with integrity so that we will leave footprints of peace in our afternoon. Dear God, we thank you for a new day. We thank you for another opportunity to experience life on earth today. Help us to live purposefully, kindly, contentedly, brilliantly, honestly, and fully. Guide us, protect us, teach us, correct us, and inspire us. At the end of today, may we bring glory to your name and to our great nation, Nigeria. Dear God, we thank you for a new day. We thank you for another opportunity for our leaders to experience life on earth today. Help them to live purposefully, kindly, contentedly, brilliantly, and fully. Guide them, protect them, teach them, correct them, and inspire them. At the end of today, may they bring glory to your name and to our great nation, Nigeria. Amen.